just real simple, just very proud of our team. This is a big week for us, obviously, with 2 home games and ending the first half of the Big 12 schedule. So even though we started slow, I didn't think we were playing poorly. We just weren't making shots. And I think after the first quarter, we did a lot of things really, really well. And all the stats kind of show that. And I really thought that it was a very business-like effort by our team, and that was good to see.
How much did Addie kind of jumpstart you guys there in the second quarter?
No, I thought she was really good, and she had a slow start. I think tried too hard. Sometimes with Addie, it's trying to get her to do things in a very simple way. I always tell her this isn't gymnastics. There's no degree of difficulty here. You just catch it, lay it in the basket. We don't need to spin. We don't need to. And I think sometimes she tries too hard to overthink it. But after that, I mean, she's, like we've said many times, she's such a talented kid. And I to be honest, yesterday I came home from practice and I told my wife, I said, Addie Brown's the best player in the Big 12 if she practices like she did yesterday. It was incredible what she did yesterday. And she just can do so many things for our team and wants to do so many things for our team. Just fills up a stat sheet and it was tremendous today.
So what was she doing in practice yesterday?
It was just, everything. It was just so aggressive to the rim, offensive rebounding. It was more about just, like I said, just sometimes you really can't overthink things, and it's just, get the ball, go to the basket. Like, you don't have to, well, what if they do this and what if they do that? It's like, I always joke with you guys baseball, like the freaking thing's right down the middle, swing at it. Don't think just don't guess. And when she just lets the game go, her skill set is so good that it allows her to do those things.
Both Addie and Audie mentioned that slow starts have been something that can't continue to happen. They both seem concerned about it. How much does that need to change moving forward?
No, I think it is a problem. And like anything, I think today's was different than some of the other games. I mean, today it was a slow start because we were missing shots that we should make. And is it a slow start because of the other team? Is it depends on the situation. Obviously, some of it comes to, what do you do in shoot around? How do you warm up individually? Obviously, the pregame speeches suck. It's like I always tell them, the first 5 minutes of the game is not the warm up. And sometimes I think, we got to get into the game. I don't really understand that. So we talked about it as a staff. Do we need to change pregame warm up? Do we? Excuse me. Are there things that we can do differently? Some of it falls on them, obviously, but yeah, it's you can't just rely on being at home and being down 11 in the first quarter and think that we'll just time to turn it on and we'll go. So we've discussed it a lot. Obviously, we've got to figure it out because we haven't yet.
What did it mean to have Emily back tonight? Just her overall presence.
It's just, I don't know. I mean, I've talked so much about her that there's just something about her that calms everyone down. She's very vocal on a team that isn't vocal, and that's the norm. I mean, kids are on their phone all the time. They don't talk to anybody, and so they're not going to talk on the basketball court. And it's just, she just knows what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, and she's done it here for 5 years, and it's like anything else. I mean, her numbers weren't great, but I can tell you that it's just when she is in the game or when she's in practice, there's a collective it's like my wife's favorite blanket when she watches TV. You know, every night she's got this blanket on that coincidentally the BYU coach gave her as a gift when they came in the league. Very nice blanket. I couldn't afford to buy for it, but I think it's just that. It's just there's just a comfort level there that everyone knows and feels.
Keeping with Emily a little bit, before Addie's run, and I think it's sort of like Kelsey 3 too, you strung together some stops after you couldn't get any. And it seemed like Emily had 3 early steals. You got very disruptive on the defensive end. Can you talk about her contribution to that, but just how the team all pitched in and kept that going?
Yeah, I mean we're not going to be ever a group, a team, a program that people are going to, say, oh, they're a great defensive team. I don't think that's completely accurate. I think we're a team that's very smart, very opportunistic. We talk about don't go for steals, you get them because you play hard, you're in the right place, the scouting report. And Emily Ryan checks off all those boxes. And I thought as a group, there was a couple of things that we spent a lot of time on for 2 days. And I thought the majority of the game, we did really, really well. And, for us to get 11 steals that's pretty much, that's kind of surprising. But yeah, Emily is the one that kind of starts all of that because, she understands the game and she's one play ahead in a lot of ways, especially defensively. She's one thought ahead, and that's where she ends up getting them.
And Addie talked to us a little bit about talks with coaches, you presumably too, about being more aggressive post Utah maybe, and her kind of easing into that, because there's a way to do that where you might be too urgent almost, but she seems to be very controlled, and now she's ramping that up.
Yeah, she is, and it started out as kind of a joke, and then it was like I said, I've had very few players in my life that you're begging them to shoot, and there's times when like there was a play where she had a sort of open shot at the top of the key and passed the tank in the corner. That's a shot she's got to take. I mean, you got to be willing to take a shot that's a little bit tougher than the other guy, and sometimes she just doesn't. She doesn't think that way because she wants to pass first, or she's analyzing everything. I told her, you're like the quarterback. Snap the ball. He's open. Don't worry about your second through fourth read. Throw him the ball. And she shows signs of it, and it's just one of those things that because she can do so many things, and because she really enjoys throwing the ball to Audie. Like, Audie should go home every night. Like, I'm the luckiest post player in the history of the sport. Because I got every guard. I got Emily Ryan and Addie Brown throwing me the ball, and every day in practice, the coaches are screaming at the guards to throw the ball to 55. So, and Addie does it almost to a fault at times. So, happy to see her do the things she did today, because I just want people to recognize how good she is. We know, but you got to go out and play that way too.
Coach, kind of an odd one for me, but coming into this game and looking at the next 10 games that you have to finish the regular season, was tonight where you expected you'd be after this game, or did your confidence rise with what your players were able to do in that one?
I'm never very good at that, like at where I thought they'd be. I understand. I think it's a very good question. I just don't know. I live in such a world of literally today and this game, and you look backwards and go, well, what if this happened and what if that happened, and I just don't. I'm not good at that. I'm just not. But I think the biggest thing is I'm more focused, Connor, on all right, what's ahead? What are the possibilities? Like you guys have heard me say ad nauseum. Can we get through January and wake up when the calendar turns to February, which is basically the end of the season? We have one game in March. Are we playing games that matter, or are we like 2/3 of the schools in the country that say you have to play. There's a schedule, you're on a scholarship, you have to play tonight, rather than we get to play tonight and you get to still do things. So I'm not trying to avoid your question. I'm just not that smart about that kind of stuff. I don't do that very well.
Not to get too similar to what Connor asked, but another big picture one, I guess, is, I mean, you've won 4 out of your last 5. Does it feel like you're kind of finding that rhythm and getting on this upswing?
I think a combination of things. I think we've played well. I think the schedule has swung in our favor. I think the Arizonas was big. I mean, I don't know, when we do the postmortem at the end of the season, we may look back at that week and go, that did some things for our team. But I think our players understand the opportunity in front of them, and I think that they do feel like, all right, here are things that we can do, and when we do them, we can be competitive. And we've kind of been that way all year, with the exception of 2 games. And hopefully that'll be something that we can continue. And we just need to get through Saturday. We have to have 2 great days of practice, play Saturday, but then we'll take 2 days off, and then we have to reload this thing again. But I think it's the only time, or one of the only times, we have back-to-back home games in the conference. And I've said to you guys, school started yesterday, so I think this is a really huge week for us in a lot of ways, to just kind of like, all right, where are we, what are we doing? And I think our team understands that, and we've talked about it a lot, so hopefully tomorrow we'll be back to work.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.